China changes departure tax refund policy to boost inbound consumption. A wake is held for the late Henderson Land founder Li Shaoqi. And a car crashed into a crowd in Vancouver, causing deaths and injuries. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. In an effort to boost inbound spending, China is lowering the minimum amount of departure tax refunds for tourists. Musin reports.
Starting on Sunday, overseas travelers in the mainland can apply for a departure tax refund if they have spent at least 200 yuan at the same shop on the same day. The upper limit for such a tax refund has been raised to 20,000 yuan. To obtain a refund, individuals must meet a few other requirements, such as the bought item needs to be unused and the overseas traveler must carry it with them. Places that offer tax refund service on the mainland are mostly duty-free and designer brand shops. Authorities hope to expand the number of such shops as well as the product types to include crafts and specialty goods. A Hong Kong lawmaker said adjusted tax refunds could attract some local residents to shop across the border.
Because now we have tax fee for those goods in Hong Kong, but in mainland China, they have this kind of policy will attract some of the people, they like to buy some luxury goods.
Peter Siu said the city's retail sector may need to lower their prices to attract customers. However, he said that would not be easy because of the high rent and labor costs. Mums 9, TVB News.
CK Hutchison is planning to sell its stakes in 43 ports, including those in the Panama Canal around the world. The conglomerate will reportedly split the sale into two separate deals. Beijing State Administration for Market Regulation said the parties must not circumvent antitrust scrutiny. The Wall Street Journal reported in mid-April that the sale of CK Hutchison's overseas ports will continue. It will sell its overseas ports except its two Panamanian ports first. The Panama Canal ports will be sold later in a separate deal. On its website, the State Administration for Market Regulation said it is highly concerned about the relevant transactions and will review them in accordance with the law. The parties to the transaction shall not circumvent the review by any means or implement concentration activities without approval, or they will bear legal liability. Regarding CK Hutchison's proposed sale of the Panama ports, Beijing's market regulator said at the end of March that it had taken note of the transaction and would conduct a review to protect fair competition in the market and safeguard the public interest. Financial Secretary Paul Chan forecasts stable performance for the city's gross GDP for the first quarter ahead of advanced estimates. On this weekly blog, Chan says the series of mega events and international conferences hosted in the city has led to a 9% increase in tourists during the first quarter. Meanwhile, the value of total exports of goods in the first quarter has recorded a greater year-on-year rise, especially to the mainland and the ASEAN region. But Chan says the International Monetary Fund has adjusted the world's economic outlook of 2025 from 3.3% to 2.8% amid U.S.'s unilateralism and bullying actions. The financial chief says the SAR will be affected by the external environment, adding society must stay alert under the current geopolitical situation. In Canada, a car rammed into a crowd of people celebrating a Filipino community festival. At least 9 people were killed and an unknown number injured. The driver of the car struck revelers at the street festival in South Vancouver. The vehicle entered the street where people were attending a Filipino community festival just after 8 p.m. on Saturday. Police said at least 9 people have been killed and multiple others injured. The driver was taken into custody. The Lapu-Lapu Day Festival was being held in the South Vancouver neighborhood. Video posted on social media showed victims and debris strewn across a long stretch of road, with several people lying immobile on the ground. A black SUV with a crumpled front section could be seen. The attack in Vancouver comes less than 2 days before Canadians head to the polls for a general election. The campaign for all parties has been dominated by trade disputes with Washington and Donald Trump. Until Justin Trudeau resigned as Prime Minister, the ruling Liberals look set for a drubbing at the hands of the Conservatives. However, the latest poll suggests under new Prime Minister Mark Carney, victory could still be possible as he vows to fight Trump's tariffs. It has changed the narrative of the election campaign. The opposition Conservatives had hoped to make the election a referendum on Trudeau, whose popularity crashed. A record 7 million have already voted, but the leading candidates are still trying to convince the undecided.
Mark Carney's plan is to do exactly what Trudeau did on steroids. More spending, more taxes, more soft on crime. We can't afford 4 more years of the Liberals. We need a change.
It's a time for serious leadership. It's a time to come together and unite as a country because we need to fight, we need to protect, and we need to build. Elbows up. We need to fight Trump's tariffs with counter tariffs of our own that cause maximum damage in the United States with minimum impact here.
A day after Pope Francis was laid to rest in Rome, the city is still full of people trying to commemorate the pontiff in their own way. Catholics across the world paid their respect this weekend. David Garrett with more.
Here lies Franciscus, a simple stone for a pope named here in Latin. A day after a moving funeral at the Vatican, Catholics paying respects to Pope Francis. Some crossed themselves as hundreds filed past his tomb 1 day on from his burial. Exactly a week ago, Francis was presiding over Easter Mass.
We don't get popes like this very often, and we hope that the next pope will continue the same as he has done. And hopefully that he's going to pray for us with Jesus. So it's a mixed emotion. He's no more with us, but he's still with Jesus.
Breaking more than a century of tradition, Francis chose to be buried outside the Vatican under the St. Mary Major Basilica, where the line seemed to get longer as the day went on, stretching outside and around the block. 100,000 people filed past his coffin as he laid in state at St. Peter's Basilica last week, and they keep coming.
It was really beautiful. I thought it was amazing that he wanted to be buried here in this basilica. Out of all of the ones, he chose this one. So I thought that was really amazing. It's really humbling to be able to be here, considering I'm from California.
The Pope had particular affection for this building where the Jesuits' founder celebrated Mass in 1538. Francis used to pray before an icon of the Madonna here ahead of every foreign trip. And around the world his life has been celebrated. Those who couldn't be in Rome remembering. In the Philippines, people of all ages came together to pray and watch the historic events on a big screen inside a church in Quezon City. They speculated on how the new pontiff will guide the Catholic Church. A new pope will be elected by around 135 cardinals in the coming weeks. In the US, the capital city held a special mass dedicated to Francis. They gave thanks for his work to lead others closer to Christ.
I thought he might be a bit uncomfortable with all the media attention from around the world he is receiving, and countless words of praise and admiration and respect.
The football team nearest to his birthplace in Argentina and closest to his heart, San Lorenzo, marked his passing at their game with Rosario. Fans sang songs and waved flags in yellow and white, not colours of this team, his team, but that of the Vatican. The club wore special commemorative shirts for Francis, who was an official member. They placed sandals next to the pitch in a final tribute to their global leader. David Garrett, TVB News.
And still ahead, racing tourism at the Shatton Racecourse. MTR delayed this morning after engineering train troubles. Welcome back. For the first time, the Hong Kong Jockey Club rolled out 2 special experience packages tailored for international visitors on a major race day. The bundle combines the thrill of horse racing with an opportunity for international business networking for some high-spending tourists. The Champions Race Day was held at Shanton Racecourse from noon on Sunday. To attract more international visitors, the Jockey Club has rolled out 2 experience packages. Nearly 100 packages were sold. The elite package is priced at $4,500. Buyers can watch the action from spectator stands at the club's high-end restaurant, inclusive of breakfast and buffet, and a whiskey tasting session. 16 senior executives of Australian enterprises were among the first to purchase the exclusive packages.
Like-minded people that we have here today are just incredible. They're all very, very successful in their own right and employ many, many thousands of people in Australia collectively. So yes, we like to obviously travel, find international business opportunities.
And lots of things to be entertained with. And the people are very friendly.
Spared no expense, and we've had the best experience. We get picked up from our hotel rooms. We then get brought to the races, and like I said, we've had just the best experience in Hong Kong. You like to come back again. And the standard of racing, as Joel has said too, is second to none. It's as good as you'll ever see.
Australians, we like to eat well and drink well. I think in terms of Australian dollars, I think per person over the 6 days, I would estimate more than probably $12,000 Australian per person. So a fairly significant amount of money.
Elite package buyers will also receive a limited edition pony plush doll signed by prominent jockey Zach Burton, as well as commemorative clothing.
Mr. Morgan said in the future he will continue to organize groups to attend other horse racing events in Hong Kong. The club is also offering a $200 package for less experienced racegoers and individual visitors from abroad. They will be given a guided tour of the racecourse facilities and Hong Kong's racing culture. The journey time on MTR's East Rail line was extended by 10 to 15 minutes this morning. A technical fault was found on an engineering train near Foshan. The affected engineer wagon was parked on the track between Shanton and Foshan stations. Some engineers conducted an inspection on a lifting platform. MTR announced the fault at around 5:30 a.m. The journey time between Admiralty, Luowu and Lok Ma Chau extended by 10 to 15 minutes. MTR said the engineer train had to be repaired before being moved. Passengers for Lok Ma Chau station were advised to interchange at Shenshui. Li Shaoqi, the founder of Henderson Land Development, passed away last month. The wake for the late tycoon was held today. Mimosa reports.
Wreaths for the late Li Shaoqi were placed outside the Hong Kong funeral home in North Point, where the wake was held. Former Chief Executive Carrie Lam, former President of the Legislative Council Rita Fan, and Television Broadcast Limited representatives are among the mourners who sent flowers. Members of the public started paying tribute to the late property tycoon after noon. They included Zheng Yanxiong, Director of Beijing's Liaison Office, Chief Executive John Lee, Deputy Financial Secretary Michael Wong, and Rosanna Law, Secretary for Culture, Sports and Tourism. Apart from government officials, other mourners included Richard Lee from Pacific Century Group and Shen Hong Gay Properties Raymond Kok and Thomas Kok. Li Shaoqi's sons, Peter and Martin, emerged from the memorial hall and expressed their gratitude to the media. Henderson also set up a white tent where mourners could pay their respects. Memo notes are available for those who wish to write down condolence messages. Some of Lee's former employees said the late property tycoon was a kind and easygoing boss who would often visit and talk to them. Lee's funeral will be held at 11 a.m. on Monday. Lee passed away last month at the age of 97. He will be buried in his hometown Dalian, a subdistrict of Shende in Guangdong Province in the mainland. News 9, TVB News.
Yemen's Houthis launched a missile earlier today towards Israel, which the Israeli military shot down. Sirens sounded in parts of Israel around the Dead Sea. Houthi military spokesman Yahya Sari acknowledged the attack, saying they targeted Israel's Navatim airbase with what he identified as a hypersonic missile. American airstrikes, meanwhile, continue to hit the Houthis. Footage shared by the Houthis' media arm showed people clearing rubble from what they described as a targeted home. The U.S. is targeting the Houthis because of the group's attacks on shipping in the Red Sea and on Israel. Forces from the Philippines and the United States conducted intense military drills this weekend as part of its annual Balikatan exercises. They performed mock battles staged near major geopolitical hotspots. The U.S. military conducted drills near the Taiwan border as American and Filipino forces were active in Zambales province, which faces disputed waters in the South China Sea. About 9,000 American and 5,000 Filipino military personnel took part. At least 260 Australian personnel also joined, with smaller observer delegations from Japan. China has fiercely opposed the combat drills as provocative. The U.S. and the Philippines have denied the drills were aimed at China. Early this month, the Chinese military staged large-scale drills in waters around Taiwan. The Hong Kong government has set its sights on developing the city's yacht tourism sector. Airport authority officials recently traveled to Singapore to promote the city's yacht harbour project, with overseas industry representatives showing interest in investing in the Greater Bay Area market. In Sentosa, Singapore, this 4-day yacht festival wooed not just yacht aficionados, but also over 70 yachts from around the world to dock along the harbourfront. The largest vessel, a 56-metre super yacht from Australia, features spacious bedrooms and even a submarine. Chairman of the Hong Kong Boating Industry Association said, for over a decade, the Hong Kong government has not invested in the city's infrastructure, allowing the sector to lag behind Singapore. While Hong Kong boasts more than 4 times the number of public and private yacht berths than Singapore, totaling around 4,000, in recent years, many international yachts have chosen to dock in Singapore. The Cruise and Yacht Association also announced last year that it would relocate from Hong Kong to Singapore. By October of last year, only 58 yachts had sailed into Hong Kong, representing a decline of over 20% year-on-year. The Hong Kong government has recently set its sights on turbocharging the city's yacht tourism to boost high-end spending. One strategy involves the development of a yacht harbour at Chek Lap Kok Airport, which will provide over 500 berths. Promoting the initiative at the Singapore Yacht Festival, the airport authority said with the 3 runways allowing for more private jet arrivals, the city has much potential to attract high-end clientele. She added industry representatives in mainland China, Indonesia, the Middle East and Singapore have expressed interest in investing in the Hong Kong yacht harbour. Jonathan Sid, regional manager of SUTL Enterprise, said in the future, once the development blueprint is established, yacht owners would have the choice to not just travel from Singapore, but also from Hong Kong to other Southeast Asian countries. He hopes the berths will be able to accommodate more super yachts coming from the Greater Bay Area. The airport authority added next year it will accept letters of intent for the yacht harbour project before the bidding process commences. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.